That's Governor Lesedi Kganyago. And let's unpack what he had to say. Before we speak to our economist, Kantipai, who's standing by, I just want to give you a sense of what we are experiencing in South Africa, but also across the world. So the biggest thing we focus on here is food and the basic cost of food in the country. Let's take a look at what that looked like in November 2021, before that hiking cycle started that the Reserve Bank has now embarked on. A basic basket of goods was just over 4,200 rand, and that is the basic kind of food you'd need for the month. And then, of course, fast forward to July this year, we're seeing that it's costing almost 4,800 rand for the same basket of goods. And that is because of the skyrocketing inflation we've seen not only in South Africa, but across the world. Ours sitting at 7.6% from a 13-year high of 7.8% in the previous period. And that, of course, has a knock-on effect on everything that we consume as South African consumers. But let me just remind you where we come from during the peak of the pandemic and the Reserve Bank being forced to act as it did. Let's have a look at that. So last year, or in 2020, we saw that the interest rates were at a record low of around 3.5%, and that was just before that hiking cycle started. And that means the prime lending rate was at around 7%. Those of us who were excited enough to plunge and buy our first homes enjoyed that prime lending rate. And if you're going to be buying a home now, you're sitting at a place where you're going to be getting around 9.75% in terms of a prime lending rate, plus whatever the bank you choose to go with will add on that. So we're currently sitting in September this year at 6.25 in terms of the interest rate hikes that we've seen the governor or the Monetary Policy Committee institute over the last period. And what does that mean if you do have a home and you bought it for around R1 million? Well, let's take a look at that. So in November last year, for that R1 million bond, you would have been repaying about 7.7 thousand rand a month on that bond repayment. Fast forward to today, or in September this year, you are now paying about just shy of 9,500 rand. And that is an increase of over 1.7 thousand rand extra that you are paying on your bond because of those interest rates. And interestingly, the governor is saying that the threshold is when we get it back within the target band of between 3% and 6%.